everyone. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Those who are here, we really appreciate it. It's quite difficult to get students to come and make talks. So, for those who are here, we really appreciate it. Then I'd like to thank our lecturers for bringing those students because they do have their own classes and few classes and their own tests going on right now. So, we'll be joining us later about it. And secondly, I'd like to thank REKA for spending time today. It took the time from their schedule to be here with us, to spend some time to share what REKA is all about. What I can say by going through the company's profile is something different compared to the talks you guys attended or any workshop you guys attended before. It's something different. The technology that they have is something that I have never seen before. When I say you guys have seen in talks. But for me, it's something new. So I hope that today, when you guys leave the classroom, you guys leave with something new. And if you guys have any questions, please do ask them. Don't be shy. Just raise your hands up and ask them. I believe they can answer your question. For those who are seeing me for the first time, my name is Charlotte. I'm a third year engineering student. And my friend here, his name is Dhiren. He's also a third year engineering student. And who do we have here today with us? We have Mr. Eric. He is the head of special products in REKA, and we have Ms. Nasri, who is the product accreditation leader in REKA. And we have Ibrahim, who is the Chief Technology Officer for REKA Studios. So actually, I don't want to take much time because once I start talking, I'm going to stop, as you guys know. I will pass it over to Dhiren, but before that, I'll just give you an idea, a very short idea about REKA. I think we might have our very own Tesla and Elon Musk with us. Elon Musk with us. So before we hand it over to them, I will let you do some brief introduction. Thank you guys.
Thank you, John. So I'm glad that all of you came to this event. Don't be fooled by the lack of people here, because the democratic leaders. And all the students here are from all of the three engineering courses offered by UOW. In engineering, the mechanical engineers, mechatronics engineers, and the electrical and electronics engineers. I guess I'll go over why IEM is organizing such events like this. As an engineering student, it's easy to feel lost in all of the calculations, the numbers, the maths. And it's a sad thing when you see people around you lose interest and join other courses and they give up. It's demotivating for you. And I know how it feels like. And things will get challenging in life. And I'm sure a lot of you know how tough it was last semester. All of this, 1 hour, sleeping 1 hour, everything. It's tough when you want to succeed in this course. I guess the reason why it's sad people get demotivated is because even the ones with passion, when you see everyone, when you surrounded by people who are demotivated and disinterested, you lose interest as well. And the world has a lot of problems to solve in engineering. And I guess the antidote to that is ambition. And I think with that, it's very hard to find companies in Malaysia with that much ambition as REKA. Established in 2014, they only took 2 years to develop their first self-driving vehicle. That's the first in Southeast Asia. And that's come to be 11 years.
Yeah.
That's expected that. Some of the other things that we're working on now, the ambition right now is to enable people to create and access technology, to make technology accessible. What else we're doing is in helping businesses visualize data and make better decision-making, meaning creating a data platform, an autonomous cloud to enable businesses to optimize they are modeled by using autonomous robotics, and also in crowd analytics, in understanding the audience. So without taking too much time, let me just give them a brief self-introduction. Starting with the man who started all of this.
Hello everybody. I think first let me just start very quickly, just do a quick. I can imagine, I can look at you guys, I can appreciate all your handsome faces. Are we comfortable having the mask off? Everybody vaccinated? Yes. Everybody vaccinated? If you're not comfortable to have your mask off, you can very well put it on, but I think we should have your mask off. I know why I say it's important to have the mask off, right? Because when the guys up here speaking, you're going to be speaking to people. So when you speak to people, I mean, if you want, you can spread out a little bit, so it makes the thing a little bit more engaging. I can see your facial expression. You can see who's dozing off. You can see, who's looking away. And I think I like to start by saying it was not very long ago that I was at a university like this, and I didn't appreciate the initiatives such like this. So I think back then we also had a lot of students who organized these kind of events. When you're 19, 18, 20, you couldn't be asked to attend this kind of things. You're at an age, right? So I think I want to appreciate Dhiren. So Dhiren, and this is why I just want to share with you something, right? Is ask and you shall receive. And I think this is something very true in the world. So Dhiren, I met him at the gym. We were just exercising, we were just working out and all that. And this guy, I'm the kind of guy, I see you there more than 2 times. Okay, you're there, I just check. So, and he as well, a bit reserved at first. And I have a lot of respect for them because he came up to me and he told me, hey, I'm doing this, I'm in this university, blah, 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 etc. And what we do, and then he was very quick to jump on an opportunity. So, a lot of times, right, why I think that is very, very, very important is because when you step out of the university, you no longer have net. And you will never get anything you don't ask for. Simple as that. You will never get anything you don't ask for. He asked for something, and today we are here. We are here to make something happen, right? And a little bit about, so myself, my name is Aaron. I'm not an engineer by profession. I'm an accountant. I was a management consultant. I was heading the consulting side for Myanmar, LiQWYD. I was doing all this corporate governance, risk advisory, process optimization. So I worked with engineers to automate processes. That's a little bit about my background and how I fit in with REKA. So along the way, these guys will be sharing with you a little bit about our company, a little bit about what we've done, and a little bit about what we plan to achieve. So my role with REKA, I do a lot of partnerships with universities, and my role is to really bridge the gap because I know what it's like to be a student and you're fearful to go into the workplace. You're wondering, what the hell do I do for 8 hours a day? What the hell do I go into the workplace? What am I actually doing? And that fear is there. So part of my way to contribute back is to say, hey guys, work is really not that complicated. So we act as a medium between the educational institutions and the employer's market. So we are hopefully trying to bridge that gap. And of course, technology is there to share it. So please engage, please ask questions, please participate, and then it will be fun. And when it is fun, we learn. So just don't sit there and just don't do that. Be out there, be vocal, express your ideas, express your thoughts, and I think we have a brainstorming session after that, right? So with that, I'd like to pass it on to Nasrin. Ibrahim, sorry. So Ibrahim, all yours.
Hello, everyone. I feel very much at home because when I was a student, it's a little like because I took electronics engineering in 2023. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for REKA Studios. So I graduated electronics and computer engineering from Malaysia University in New Zealand. So I'm very passionate in entrepreneurship and social enterprise when I was studying. So I never knew about this. So basically, when I was studying in abroad, I think most of you guys are international students. So when you study abroad, you take a look at the perspective from another country or another economy. So when I was studying in New Zealand, I saw a lot of opportunities in agriculture. They built massive machines and huge machineries for their chips. And I think it's from an engineering perspective, it's giving you an insight to how actually you see engineering. Engineering is very amazing. I heard guy talking like it's very demotivating. I think it's a running joke. I think in mechanical engineering, I think there's a lot less girls. And mechanical engineering, you guys can relate because it's the same in any university. So engineering, it's more than just a study of equations and it's how you approach things. So after I studied in New Zealand, I worked in New Zealand for 1 year in a bag manufacturing company, and then I went back and I worked together with Nasrin and all the co-founders to build REKA Studios. So I have a bachelor's in electronics, but most of my works involve cloud computing infrastructure. So it's very computer science. If you put it into a bachelor, it's computer science. So myself, I have the skills of an engineer and also the skills in computer science. Self-taught, by the way, self-taught. So Nasrin is also an engineer. So actually, we're all engineers. So specializes in mobile app development. Now I don't do those things anymore, but we're venturing on into something new. So little bit about REKA Initiative. I think the fact that they guys approached us because we are the first company in Southeast Asia to build our own self-driving car. And our own self-driving car, we didn't build a car from scratch, but we retrofitted to a national car, which is Proton. So there was Proto Wira, Proto Maja. So it's we retrofitted those cars because we wanted to showcase, as an engineer, as a technologist, as a person with knowledge, that when you put knowledge into the right place, you can build something really amazing. So when you see like the likes of SpaceX and Tesla, we feel like, oh, they're like amazing engineers. Actually, they use the same equations as us as we learn in universities. And so that's a little bit of background. So most of it are computer science. So I'll pass it out to.
Okay, hi guys. I'm Nasrin. I'm basically the product implementation lead in REKA. And basically what I do right now is we have a bunch of products, we have a bunch of clients, and I'm basically the lead to make sure all the products that we create for our clients are fitting with their needs, any kind of maintenance, improvements, and enhancements. Basically, I lead my team to go towards that. But where did I start from? So basically, I'm not really a computer scientist. I didn't graduate knowing how to create web apps, mobile apps, and all that. But that's pretty much what I do now. That's what I do lead my team with. But actually, I started off graduating with a master's in biomedical engineering back in the UK. I basically studied in Imperial College. So 5 years ago when I graduated, I think maybe some of you might be feeling this right now. You guys may be a bit lost. Like, is this really what I want to do? And it's okay. I'm telling you guys right now, it's okay if you don't know if that's really what you want to do. I would just say, just go through with it, finish it, and by the end of it, you might be able to figure out, you might go into it, you might not, you might work something slightly related, or maybe entirely different. But that's really okay. Like, look where I am right now. Like, I've studied 4 years biomedical engineering, and honestly, I'm not really applying anything I've learned. But it's not about what you learned during the classes, like, the maths, the engineering, the physics part of it. It's more like, the skills you learn, how to talk to people, how to solve problems, but not specifically the technical part, but more like, the thinking, how you develop your critical thinking. So that's what's pretty much you are being groomed for right now in university when you're taking engineering. So yeah, when I started off in REKA, well, before I started off in REKA, I graduated, right? So I didn't know what I wanted to do. There were so many options for me because like biomedical engineering 5 years ago was actually quite an unknown territory for me. And in Malaysia, actually, biomedical engineering is not something that people like, not an opportunity that's a lot. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I thought that I wanted to, work in a company in the UK, but then I didn't really, like, I've been away from home for years, so I didn't really want to be away from home. So then I decided, let me just find a job in Malaysia. So by the time I got back, I realized that most of the biomedical engineering roles were actually more like sales for like sensors or radiography and technicians and all that. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do cool stuff. I want to do research stuff. So then that's how I found REKA. I know REKA does R&D, and I know what I'm doing now is not related, but I know eventually, with the vision that the CEO has, to enable people to create, I know eventually, he does have in mind to have like some kind of department where I can, apply what I've learned 5 years ago to create something. But maybe now it's not the time, so I just have to wait. So now I'm doing what I'm doing. But then along the way, I've also realized I sort of have a passion in other kinds of development. So I realized, hey, game development looks kind of fun. AR, VR, that's when I voiced these out. Like, because one thing I like about REKA is they gave me the opportunity to grow and learn like whatever I want to do. I mean, not in a way that it's like not beneficial, but like something that can bring value not just to the company but to the nation as well. Regardless of what products you decide to create out there once you graduate or in whichever company you guys will work in, it will leave an impact on the nation, on yourselves, and on other people, basically. So yeah, I think we can start the talk. I'll pass back to my Mr. Ibrahim to say.
You can see we kind of do this like small so that guys don't get bored. Okay, so. Okay, so I'm going to introduce a little bit about REKA, a little bit detail on what we do. So, REKA is a research and development company. As you can see from here, we delve a lot in digital technology and also research and development. So we have two main pillars in our company: our service-led activities and our product-led activities. So our service-led, we approach people, we listen to their problem, we actually go to them, we meet with them, and then actually know them to offer services that are very customized to their solution. Because in technology and engineering, sometimes the solutions are very customized to the people that you are engaging in. So before we went to service lab, of course we built our autonomous REKA to showcase our engineering capabilities. So REKA is a locally owned company, operating in Malaysia officially since 2017, and is a part of this group. So it has been a very amazing journey for the past 6 years. I joined 6 years. So we have grown the company so much, and we are going to grow more. And also our research-led activities. This one is we engage with universities to assist or collaborate with them in terms of some of the various research. Like for example, we have COVID sterilization with University of Malaya and Unicell AI for HANA transaction, and USM CubeSat for weather and also for planetary sensors. So we're imagining local research but globally. So our pillars consist of sensors IoT, which is closely related to engineering, robots/vehicles, and sensors IoT. And also this is where the computer science comes in. Everything is in cloud, you guys. That is the fact that you have to. Even when I was an engineering student, I didn't know that. that. But I wanted to share something very personal of mine that happens to my own family. My mother is a taxi driver. So when I was coming here, I saw the taxis on the back. My mother used to do that. So when Grab and Uber came, my dad lost his job. So then I knew technology is disruptive. It's a fact. I mean, like, technology can move economy. So it's very important for you to understand that sensors, IoT, and robots and vehicles are part of engineering. But AI systems that have cloud infrastructure, cloud computing are the on the rave right now. It's what people are doing right now. So with that, going into that, we have sustainable teams to act on machines and rich sensor data. So the flow is engineering that actually helps build the physical world, and all those data are collected into a cloud, and all those data are then being processed by machine learning engineers, AI engineers. So if you guys are taking it, you are only 1/3 of what the world is offering right now. Right now. That's why when I was talking, I self-taught myself as a computer science. It's 2/3 of what the ecosystem is. And actually it's a whole bunch, but putting it into a smaller scope for this round. Okay, so REKA started 2013. At that time, it's a very small company. Founded as an enterprise focusing on graphic and web design. In 2017, launched Malaysia's first REKA. At that time, we had our program, and right now, we kind of like had a little bit of pause in our self-driving technologies. And now, fortunately, we are jump-starting it after PKP. We've collaborated with a car manufacturer in Malaysia to develop going on. They know that they need to learn or to advance their tech, but they're a little bit late, car manufacturer, so it's okay. Expanded our team to cover research and new development, launched smart city sensing system partnership with Murata, and then we got acquired by Surf Technologies. And then we go back to the launch and dedicated autonomous driving and robotic unit, expanded project presence in Japan, expand project presence in UK and Singapore. Right now we're in the talks of going to Turkey and strengthening our position in Singapore and also expanding to Indonesia. Launch our data visualization platform and global expansion of data platform. So I will ask you one very important question at the end. So because the talk is about self-driving car, but I'm explaining other things. But you guys need to see why am I explaining this. Capabilities and expertise, we have digital technology, we cover visualization, orchestration, data analytics, and IoT sensing, and also platforms for system development. So automation, autonomous vehicle, machine learning, and robotics, and also deep tech for engaging with universities. Okay, these are some of the partners that we've collaborated. We've collaborated with Mara was generous enough to become one part of the. We built one self-driving car for them. Malaysia, WWF, EM, UOW, and MARI is a very, very strong pillar in MARI stands for Malaysia Automotive Robotic IoT Institute. So we've partnered with them, we've been working with them for almost 4 years and engaging with a government agency, because one of the things that we have problem is that when you try to introduce a new technology, it's kind of like magic. When the first Ministry of Technology, mostly, when he wrote the self-driving car in EM, he said, this is like black magic. The car is driving. Because they're from older generation. But it's about perspective. From an engineering standpoint, it all makes sense. But from a public standpoint, it's something really amazing, really magical. So engaging with government agency, we need to educate. First step is educate them, also engaging them and build that relationship long enough for them to accept that the world is changing. So we as a company, we are giving you the opportunity to move forward as an industry. So engaging with them is very, very, very amazing. So and then we Magic, Run Cloud, and Battery Move B, and all sorts. So weird. Alright. Okay, so I'll pass it to Nasrin for our service lab. So Nasrin leads our service lab activities.
Alright. Okay, so you guys have been listening to Ibrahim talk about like their service-led, product-led, and research-led. So basically, those are the main three pillars within REKA, and the name's pretty self-explanatory. Research-led is all research-based new things. Product-led is basically we're developing our own products and we're selling them out. While service-led, as it's called, it's service, we have clients who actually come to us. So, when we have all this talk about like RI 4.0, digital transformation, like most companies, big companies, our clients even, they just throw that word around like, oh, I want to go into RI 4.0, I want to be woke, I want to be relevant, stay with the trend, I want digital transformation, but like eventually automation, autonomous vehicle, they all talk about, the eventual outcome of what IR 4.0 can bring. But when we look into the actual daily operations of the client itself, like we're like, the first step you guys need to do is take a step back and digitalize your current operations. Because like, honestly speaking, most companies, they're still, pen and paper, the traditional way. So like, how do you want to go into IR 4.0, big data, all that jazz, all those big jargons you're throwing at us, like, we know what it is. So like, most of the time, our service-led team, we kind of have to like, slow down the clients and be like, okay, guys, chill. You guys can reach that eventually, but for now, why don't we focus on, changing the little things within your own company, within your own operation. So that's where we sort of step in, because our service then starts off with digital transformation, and we consult them. How can we change your operations that's very pen and paper, very traditional, to something that can eventually lead towards the IR 4.0 movement, right? So these are just some use cases, like some of our clients, some of the people that we sort of helped out. So, like I think Ibrahim has mentioned as well just now, the main two are Murata and also UOW. So for Murata, what we've done with them is a collaboration to sort of like, this is sort of one step towards forming a smart city. So we sort of set up sensors around, mostly on billboards and around certain junctions in Malaysia, just to sort of monitor and map the traffic movement within Malaysia. Right now, there's some in KL, there's some in Cyber. Like, there's actually a few sensors that we've set up. So this is the first step. We want to collect data. Eventually, then that's where we can bring the machine learning, the AI part, and simulate. When's it gonna be? When's the traffic gonna be bad? Because right now it's pretty unpredictable. I can say like sometimes Mondays are bad, but sometimes next week okay, pula today, right? So this is how we start. We start off with collecting the data. And meanwhile, we have another client, UOW, where we sort of create a cloud platform for them to communicate with their clients. Because what UOW does is they basically sell and also like service machines that they sell to their clients. So right now, everything, like I said, it's all pen and paper. So we're just sort of digitalizing that flow right now. Eventually, it's going to lead to something bigger. Okay. So talking about the Murata sensors that we set up. So when we want to start building models or simulation or like a smart city itself, everything always starts off with data. Like, we can't just say, I want to build a smart city and expect the city to like sort of be smart by its own, right? So we have to set up the sensors, we have to set up the devices that sort of help us. Because if we don't have the data, we don't know, like, berjalan ni, the cars are coming and going, so we sort of have to set up in the data industry. So what we do is basically we support the installation and operating the sensors. We collaborate with like, if we're in Shah Alam, MBSA, what would we call it next? But then, the city, we collaborate with the city councils to set up wherever that depends on which state. I think eventually we're gonna, go to other states as well, because right now it's mostly in like Klang Valley, Selangor, KL area. Okay. So then, for UOW, what we did is we basically created a whole system for them called the KARA system. So the KARA system, there's two parts to it. Like there's the sales part and the servicing part. So the sales part basically helps the sales team to write up quotations, invoices, and send to the clients. While the service part is basically we also create some sort of app for their clients to make bookings with them, and then all the operations flow we sort of digitalize. But of course, digitalizing big companies like this, it's not an easy task because they have their own office politics, hierarchy, and like certain papers that needs to be filled. Sometimes even if we ask, okay, can you just like change it a certain way to make it digital, like e-signatures? They're like, oh, we can't accept e-signatures. Like, why? You guys can change that policy, but like, those are some things that we can't, just change within a day. So those policies come with changes within the system. So that's where product habilitation sort of comes in, where we always have to talk to the end users. Like, okay, what works? What works? What doesn't? What kind of APIs we might have to put in? What kind of features we have to put in the system to make it work for you guys? So, and then, okay, this was another old project that we had with the client Rodeo. So basically, what Rodeo does is Rodeo basically they have cars and drivers where they wrap the cars with like advertisement stickers. If you've seen those taxi drivers with like stickers, so basically they put it there, and then the drivers turn on an app, and then they can measure. They pay the driver with how many miles they drive, how many kilometers they drive, so that you're advertising for that company, right? So what Rodeo wanted was they wanted to find a way, to sort of increase the engagement. So this is something that Murata does as well. Murata, the sensors that we install them on billboards. So if we measure, like if two cars are passing by, we can assume two people have seen the billboard because that's kind. So the same thing with Rodeo. What we did was we created like a gamified system where there are certain campaigns they can put out. For example, like find this ad campaign on this car and you get so and so rewards, right? So the app is sort of like a Pokemon Go game where you have to chase after the Pokemon, but but in this case you're chasing after advertisement. So what the people do is they'll chase after the advertisement for the rewards, and at the same time they have to the syarat is you have to share it to Facebook. So for example, I'm seeing the ad, I took a picture, I share it to the platform, I share it to Facebook, and whoever else is following me also sees that ad. So it's sort of a marketing way to sort of okay, this brand is unknown, one person sees it, 10 other person sees it, and then 10 other people also oh, okay, I want to join this campaign. So it sort of branches out. So it's a way to sort of increase brand recognition for Rodeo. And then, okay, last but not least, if you've heard us saying that we have a parent company, Survex. So basically, for Survex, they've been a lot of things actually. They've evolved as well as much as REKA over the past few years. So initially, Survex started off as we had a vehicle super app where vehicle owners can keep track and sort of request for services on their vehicles. And of course, we have a whole ecosystem of an app and also a dashboard. We call it now Sfera Auto. So basically, we're helping out businesses, mostly mechanics and workshops, to keep track of the customers coming. And the customers may or may not be Survex users. So because what Serve does is they're basically helping out a business, in this case, workshops. So the app has eventually become like a platform for vehicle owners to keep track of your vehicles. Let's say you have 3 cars or 3 cars and a motorcycle. You can keep track of your services, you can keep track of your license, your road tax when it expires. It sends you reminders like, oh, the next service is coming in 2 weeks. Your license is expiring in a few weeks. Don't forget to renew. So like even on the app itself, there's also like third-party providers where you can sort of apply for insurance. You know, eventually it's going to be a whole super app where you can eventually buy and sell cars from the platform itself. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to pass back the mic to Ibrahim for him to talk about the product.
Thank you, Ms. Nasrin. So we've covered the service-led initiative. So now we're on the product. So our companies provide products to mass market. So the first product that we do is a data visualization platform, which is called Mission Control, short. And we also have motion analytics for measuring audience measurement, called Texas. And also we have a remote operation platform, which is called Override. Okay. I hope you guys have been paying attention. There is a theme to what we're doing before we get to the autonomous vehicle. Okay. So this is our data visualization. It's still in pilot testing. Hopefully we can get to alpha as soon as we can. So basically it's data visualization, but we focus more on creating a more simpler way to connect, specifically for vehicles. And also motion and crowd analytics platform for the users. So we measure for example, in an event or like in universities or mall, shopping mall, we can use a device to actually detect how many people are around that area, close to the how long do they stay in there. So we use this for different clients to approach for their own businesses. So we have a so in alpha testing. So hopefully we can roll out the product as soon as possible. And also we have remote operations platform, remote cloud, so that we can connect our own devices, robotics, for small and also big vehicle, for them to monitor fleet management. Okay, these are some of the things that we do in REKA. So we, like I said, when we approach clients, sometimes they want more, but we need to give them something that they can move on to. So we look with DG to help them, first of all, to educate. We had a talk with them and also a session with them where we teach them the basics of IoT, basics of sensors and everything, so that they themselves can enable to create something of their own. First of all, you need to educate people, and then when they go back to their work, they might have some ideas, and then they approach them back to us. So that's how we do business. Because technology is it's an art. And we had a visit from Songjun University from South Korea, because they acknowledged us for building their autonomous vehicle in Southeast Asia. So they wanted to benchmark their researchers wanted to benchmark on top of what we were doing. Because the thing that we did for our self-driving car is that we use ICE, we use internal combustion engine. Because when you see Tesla uses battery. So internal combustion engine has it's a different thing. So when you retrofit a autonomous technology onto an ICE, it's a different thing. So because the perspective that we thought, because electric vehicles are not mass produced yet at that time, so retrofitting a car with autonomous capability would be an option for industry. And also during PKP, during COVID relief, we also provide, we help Muslim Nation to provide some of the equipment for the sterilization. Alright, I think that's all because I really want to engage because the talk is 1 hour and a half, so I don't usually talk much. Even in the company, I don't talk 20 minutes. So
Talk the least in the company actually.
I'm a man of few words. So some of what I'm ending. So so this is our autonomous vehicle. We now it's Mari, but during that time it's called Malaysian Automotive Institute. So we built a self-driving car that we're using Proton, the new Proton Perdana, Proton Perdana. So we retrofitted like from Wira, which is like very mechanical, but that one has manual transmission and also there's auto transmission. So I mean, I'm talking to engineering students, so you guys should know how hard it is, but the knowledge that we acquire along the way and also the perspective helps us to build a very profound perspective and also helps the government to build policy around it. We got invited by the government to build policies around autonomous vehicle because I mean they told me like very magic car, you know, like at that time. So we have 4 prototypes and 1,000 km autonomous driving. So right now it's level 3 limited self-driving. So this is our So the thing about technology is that people don't talk about it unless it's viral. You know, it's an amazing thing, the human mind. So what we did is we used the self-driving car to actually go towards the toll, and as you can see from a very weird way, like he was scratching his knee, like, what is this? At that time, you know, like his knee, before Tesla became a thing. So, and also language recognition maintenance. So there are a lot of levels for self-driving car. The first level is no vehicle autonomy. That's how we operate now. Level 1 is driver assistance. Right now, level 1 driver assistance. There's a lot of companies that incorporate driver assistance, you know, like provide info and warning. And also level 2, occasional self-driving. I like the I think it's Honda. I think it senses if you micro sleep during an event, and then it helps you to brake. Alright, so it's more of a saving lives initiative. So, and then at level 3 is autonomous with all the sensors, you know, like ultrasonic sensors, LiDAR, and then camera vision, lane detection, putting it all into an algorithm, putting all those, what do you call that? All those points in an equation and then putting it into one so that it's fully autonomous. It's hard. It's hard, basically. I think from my perspective, there's a lot of debate. From my perspective, one thing that I noticed from a self-driving car perspective is heavy rain. Heavy rain. In Four Seasons country, they don't have heavy rain as much as Malaysia. The equator country is Malaysia, you know, that sits in the middle of the earth. They have heavy rain. So heavy rain, you can't rely on vision. You can't rely on camera vision. So you need to be more considerate. So that's one of the points that we give the points to the government policies that for a self-driving car, this needs to be, because for a product like Tesla to be able to operate in Malaysia, they need to know their capability. So Four Seasons country has snow. So their algorithm has to abide by snow. Because snow, you have white terrain, you know, compared to green terrain from mountainous terrain. So it's a big engineering challenge that all of them needs to be taken into consideration when you're level 4, of course, full self-driving under certain condition. I think it's Tesla is at level 4. 20 people can sleep. Ours is level 3. So level 5 is full self-driving under all conditions. This one is swarm robotics. So autonomous technology application. There's a lot of things that can be said in terms of the application. Like the people who sees that self-driving car on public road is where you get somewhere to somewhere. But for warehouses, they might use autonomous thing for their forklifts, for their tractors, for their AGVs, autonomous guided vehicle. And also, there are some software that you can build because autonomous software, you have fleet management, behavior monitoring, and human machine interface. And of course, at the advanced robotics will be swarm, and also automation in the industry. So these are some examples of our collaboration with. This one is in Singapore, the port. So we help them to, from the software side, we help them to automate their forklift operation. And this is COVID-19 sterilization chamber. And vision technology for plantation detection. And this is what I say when in Malaysia roads is different. Malaysian roads and any other country's roads are different. So practically you need to, when you want to use a self-driving car, it's in perfect condition. So what about imperfect condition, like very rough roads? And then autonomous vehicle 3D mapping and vision technology. This one uses LiDAR. So the Murata electronic sensors uses LiDAR. It's a solid state LiDAR, but right, just for autonomous vehicle uses a more advanced LiDAR. So yeah.
So how does it move with the car? Is there like a drone or something?
What you're asking about the drone?
How does it move along with the vehicle?
The LiDAR is attached to the vehicle.
It's attached to the vehicle.
On the outside. On the sensor. So basically LiDAR is a laser that you fire it around very fast, and then you give it the reflection bounce back to give you a depth perception of the environment around you. So with that, you couple with camera vision, you can actually segmentize your data into things that are non-living things like buildings and outside, and also living things like people, and also some of the signs on the road, like how fast you're going and stuff like that, road proximity. So it's very important. There's a lot of things to consider when building a self-driving car. Of course, safety is number one, but when you approach an engineering perspective, you really have to see try to see it from all perspectives. Very awkward. Even for us, it was mind-boggling to see like heavy rain was a thing. Like it's a technology challenge that needs to be solved. Okay, so that is the end for the REKA profile and also the autonomous technology.
You should have a question, sir.
Okay, so let's go to question and answer. So okay, free flow lah kot. I think it's free flow.
Yeah.
How many minutes? Hopefully until.
So my question is,
Okay.
when I told my mom about Tesla, she was like, oh no, cannot. I don't want the car to self-drive.
Okay.
What's that? I explained to her, okay, this is a car. You don't have to self-drive. You drive it by yourself. You're not telling, oh, just sit down, close your eyes and drive. But these are the challenges I feel that we are going to face. Even maybe the government, they won't approve it, knowing that, as we know, especially human beings, we hate changes. We are already used to something, we don't want to come out from the comfort zone. So what are the challenges that you guys face, like explaining to new people, maybe the older generation, mak bapak kita lah.
Okay.
So how do you explain to one, this is the future? Because what I heard was, because I had a question, why Tesla is not coming to Malaysia? Why they not opening up factory here? Because they're opening up one in Indonesia soon. So I heard that they asked the government, when can you guarantee me that Malaysia will stop producing, petrol-based cars? But we can't promise it yet. That's it. So how do you explain to the government? Or even the older generation, this is the future? Because like I said, my parents say, no, I want to drive my own way. But I'm telling you, no, this is the future. You just have to sit down and eat while going to another destination. I don't know, high school drive. How do I change the mindset?
That's it. That is the question that we ask ourselves in the meeting also. Yeah, alright. So basically, I guess I'll answer it with the example that I gave just now. Is that technology is very absolute for me. Knowledge and technology is very absolute. It will come to us, like we are living in a very, very interesting time where people are connected in every way. So they will talk about like globalization, like people can talk someone to US, at that time they were saying that it's nonsense. How can we used to send mails, like letters? So technology will come to us. But in order to explain to them, I don't think there is a short way of doing it. It always comes to education, even when we met with clients, I won't say, but some of the clients, they wanted to do big data, but then when we go to them and then, how much data do you have? How much data do you have? We put it in numbers. Oh, just 100 megabytes. 100 megabytes for how many years? 20 years. So 100 megabytes for 20 years, it's a traffic data. So traffic data. So they had data like buses, how the schedule and everything, but they didn't track the value rate. So they want to know. Sometimes they want to know. Even if your mother, there will come a time she will accept it.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it's you're trying to explain to her, like this is the future, but when the time comes, she will write it also, and then she wouldn't say anything. She will write it, and then like you have the opportunity to say, "I told you so."
Yeah.
But don't say it.
If I can also add what Ibrahim has also said, this is something about technology. Like there's always conspiracy theories that's gonna say something bad. Like even 5G, come on, people are saying things about like 5G reading into your mind now. Like regardless of what new technology comes, there's always going to be an issue with accepting it. That's why at REKA, what we also try to do is we try to advocate for technology. So like, because there's always like levels of digital illiteracy. Some people don't have access to the technology and don't know anything about technology. That's like the lowest and the hardest people to reach out lah. Like orang dekat like we can't reach out to them. Even if we give them a phone like that telephone, they're like, what do I do with this? It's just a break to them. And then the second level is, they have phones. Like, maybe our mothers, our parents, like they have phones. Smartphones. But like, selfie pun susah, they don't know how to use it. Like that's the second level. And the third level is like a more deeper, like, okay, they know it, they have it, maybe just keeping up to date with the tech. So honestly, if this goes to anything, like not just self-driving cars. Education is one thing. Also, the government plays a big role in it. Like that's why before the thing comes, before the tech comes to Malaysia, we try to, help out with the policies because, let's say the policies started and then the thing comes in, and then some people drive it. There's bound to be people who misuse it, and then suka hati nak langgar. Bukan salah aku, kereta aku ni langgar. We don't know. People might have murderous intent with a big self-driving vehicle. That's why the government also needs to come up with policies and be like, okay guys, this is safe. So then, slowly people will accept it.
Slowly people will accept it.
But like, what do you feel is the relevance of autonomous cars in Malaysia especially?
Relevance.
Where do you see its uses?
I would say the uses are for public uses. Public uses for shuttle buses, for warehouses, like forklifts, big machinery. So the relevance, it is relevant. It is relevant to any country actually for automation because the core the most important part, productivity. We develop technology from years behind because of productivity. We want to drive productivity and also lowering costs. So relevance, it is very relevant, but in order for us to achieve that, that's why we went into the service lab and also the product lab, because to build the entire ecosystem, you need to do something very different, but it's part of the system. Very relevant.
Any questions from
No, anybody like for
I have a question. Since both of you come from different engineering backgrounds, how did you guys learn about all these IT services, cloud computing and all that? Because it's very relevant in the future, right? But it feels like such a steep learning curve. So how did you, what was your journey like to learn about all these things?
I think I'll take it.
Yeah, okay, you can start first.
So I think from my side is that I think we've got the first step is that we acknowledge that what we learn it's enough for one part, but in order for us to fully understand, we need to learn other things. We need to be open-minded to be able to accept the knowledge from other. So when I started out, I started doing my first thing I doing Chrome extension, like to block ads, that was annoying for me. Sometimes it's just a hobby, but for me, coding is very important. Engineers have it good because they learn C++, C++, C from it, so you can always convert that to Python, to Laravel, to PHP. So you guys are on the right track rather than people who started from zero. But for you to go into that, the experience is actually to not give up. To not give up, and also the thing is logical. The thing has to be logical. So you can always start. You don't have to start from somewhere, because we use mobile app. Then you can build a mobile app on your own, and then from there, actually, you can actually access, because you're on electronics, mechanical, kind of like you guys. Mechanical, sometimes you use 3D printer, so you might have software for use 3D printer. So you start from there. And also create a GitHub account. GitHub account is a must for you want to apply for, I wouldn't say engineering, but for programming, they see your GitHub account. Open a GitHub account and then do something, and then for me right now, I think people should learn Python. Python is a major need on top of what you're doing right now. Basically something like extra knowledge.
My case is slightly different from Ibrahim, because for Ibrahim it's more like he was driven to learn. My case is a bit different. It's more like I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life in general. So when I got back and I saw it, I was like, web development, I could give it a try. Even when I was interviewing with the CEO, he was like, you have zero knowledge, zero background in this. What makes you think you can do it? I'm like, I like to learn new things. And yeah, definitely, I think my drive every day is anytime I get to learn anything new, regardless what it is. Maybe I'm not interested in it, but the learning process just, I don't know, keeps me alive, I guess. Instead of the boring, mundane things I do every day. I mean, that's a must. But learning anything, even if it just scratches your head and you're just like, how the heck do I do this? That part just sort of, makes my day a little bit fun. It's a weird take on it, but if you have the drive to sort of want to learn something, regardless of what it is, Python. So if you want to go for the relevant things, you can go into it. But if you want to start with something like, I want to challenge myself and go for things, maybe the documentation stuff, you can start learning. But yeah, definitely perseverance and just sometimes maybe you might not have passion in it, to do the things that you think you want to do. But I would say you don't have to find passion. You can put the passion into it when you're doing it. Because that's my life motto, I guess. I don't have passion in anything. I really don't. If you ask me what do I want to be, what do I want to do, I don't know. To this day, even the CEO, sampai sekarang, 5 years later, still asking the same question, what about her? I don't know.
acceptance, I mean the acceptance level of the public is very, in terms of evaluation, you know, they feel insecure when somebody else, nothing else is driving you, especially for moving and so on. Because there's a level of acceptance. And what I want to highlight is that I did read somewhere that in future, the level of people driving cars can reach to a very fatigue level, you know, especially when stuck in jam, running far journeys and so on. Do you think that this can be one purpose for the autonomous to be a reality in Malaysia and around the world?
I agree that perspective. I love that perspective because the big barrier, I think, we take a look at Tesla. The big barrier they wanted to solve was heavy freight transportation. They wanted to solve transportation first because transportation sometimes there are lorry drivers who are micro sleeping on the. So those are one pillar that we can solve. And also in terms of Malaysia, maybe my perspective, I think I agree with you. My perspective would be they might use autonomous for big vehicles first. If the public takes time to accept things, but warehousing and operation. Lifting heavy items, you know. So that one is I think the closest one. And for the public road would be like heavy vehicle because people don't want to drive. I mean like the lorry drivers and everything. So the technology is coming. Open-ended discussion.
Hi, I have two questions. The first one is how about cyber security? Is your autonomous vehicle, can people sabotage it, for kidnappers and all that? Is there any security system for your car? And then my second question is, if there is some circuit problem in the system and the car tends to have accidents, who will be to be blamed? Driver, the car, or the manufacturer?
Okay, to answer the first question, it's open-ended. I'm happy to take that question. For the first question is cybersecurity because our autonomous vehicle runs on isolated system in the car, so it's not approach to cybersecurity. But once we connect it to the cloud, then there will be a cybersecurity threat. But of course, we take measures to counter that. Alright, so there's a difference between connecting it to the cloud and also running the autonomous part on isolation. So to answer the second question, who will be at fault? Who will be at fault? You know, like how Tesla did it. Like the customer accept the terms and conditions. So that's one is a lawyer thing. You know, like they solved it using terms and conditions. But in terms of I would say the fault, it's everybody's fault. It's everybody's fault because first we as a user, we accept the risk. Even when we drive the car, we tend to get into an accident. And if we rode the bus, there is a risk of the bus getting an accident. And if we rode an LRT, so the self-driving car is also like a transportation, like plane, you know, like they accept. So they tend to what they do is they try not to have too much vendors. They try not to have lots of items in the car not being manufactured by other people. You know, like some subcontractor, you know, like, oh, this part is being built by this part, so there is that tendency. That's why Tesla, they build everything from their own perspective, from their own. So even for big companies like Honda, Toyota and everything, they want to avoid things like that. They build those new with a certain degree, high degree of acceptance so that they wouldn't be at fault. So it's more of a user policy acceptance and also like the responsibility of the car manufacturer. But usually how they do is try to make all the items built by their own company, not by others.
So meaning if the car had an accident, the police will charge the manufacturer, not the driver, right?
They will go to the manufacturer to check what's wrong with it, to find the fault where is the electronics and everything. But of course, this self-driving car, even for crash testing, like when you crash the car onto the wall, okay, when they do crash testing, they have rigorous testing. And even for self-driving car, they have rigorous testing about it.
I believe those self-driving cars, they, especially like Tesla, they don't allow you to like totally sleep off.
It's terms and conditions.
Yeah, because every 10 minutes you are supposed to at least touch the steering wheel to notify that you are awake. They allow you to be hands-free, but not like, oh, put my seat back and just sleep off. There are people who do that and cause problems on the road. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is for you to be, calm, relaxed. Maybe you have a kid, feed the kid. I mean, don't do that. Doesn't want you to be totally 100% self-driving. I mean, I would say it's impossible, but if it's possible with 100% efficiency, then we won't have any accidents at all on the road.
Well, there is one perspective, 100%, is everybody is self-driving car.
Then there's no accident.
Really no human intervention at all, because
Car workshop are closed down.
every car, and that's because when every car is moving or self-driving, so they interact with each other and everything, vehicle-to-vehicle interaction. So it's the swarm robotics, so it's easier to manage.
Actually, it's similar. You start with bigger vehicles like, let's say, bus, those public transportation. It's a good way to start, because it's like, the self-driving bus brings you to a destination. And that same bus just goes to the same destination here and there. So it only has one route to travel.
Yeah, because even in terms of profitability, every company wants to make profit. So having these parameters, like very confined parameters, actually help them to justify an autonomous technology adaptation. Any other questions?
The question, we should to develop an autonomous vehicle. You have to go through a lot of challenges and come up with a better technology. I think the plan is to expand on this technology, use it in other applications, not just self-driving, but maybe in factories, maybe I think that's
Well, as you can see from the product-led initiative, most of the products, actually all the products, are from the self-driving technology. It's based on that, like machine override, for a little bit of the perspective. What do you guys think need to build a self-driving car? The engineers in front of you, what do you guys think? I mean, from a mechanical perspective, what do you need in a self-driving car?
The sensors.
A sensor is electronic, from a mechanical part.
Yeah, mechanical parts.
Mechanical part. We go one by one.
Mechanical part.
Mechanical part is the control for the steering, for the gas, for the brakes and everything, the mechanical part. And of course, electronics has a lot of sensors and everything. And also, mechatronic is the combination of those two, converting to mechanical. So, and then of course, the high precision sensors, or what we call nodes. So, you have cameras, optical vision, so that one is not mechanical or electronic, it's computer vision engineering. And then LiDAR exam, and also you have the central system for combining all of these parameters, which is computer usually is Linux based. So you have to have someone that's actually very well versed in Linux, and also you have to be able to communicate mechanical, of course goes to sensor, and then communicate either through MQTT or WebSocket or APIs or whatever protocol that you want to use. Sometimes people delve into a lower protocol to get a faster reaction time. Sometimes they go to the higher one because they don't want to have the hassle of converting hexadecimals to values in computers. So there's a lot of things that and of course connecting it to the cloud, sending those values to the cloud. That one is computer science all through. So you have all of this massive usage of technology, and lots of people, but some people learn different fields, and then you started chunking it up into individual parts, and you see then you can build a product around it. You can build one part that's actually for maybe for universities, for warehousing and everything. So the autonomous is big, and all the small things can be used for when we engage with customers. So knowledge is very important there. Sorry, what was the question again? The plan. Yes, that's basically the plan.
I have a question. So it's more towards the future of REKA. So there's follow-up question, right? So the first question would be, is this autonomous car is going to be more like from your product side, it's going to be a sister or it's going to be an actual car? So that's my first question. The second, if it's a yes, it's like a full car, so how is you going to compete with those local markets, like if Product jumps to the smart car or an autonomous car? If it's a system, so how are you going to push this local market to then jump together with y'all and make this thing happen in the future?
The question has an if statement. Okay, so the first one is about acceptance.
It's going to be like from REKA side, is it going to be in future? It's going to be like a car, it's like a brand from your side, or it's going to be just a system that you are making as a product?
So to answer that, we have a lot of meetings around that, and we came to a direction in which we want to build the ecosystem around self-driving car. We want to cater to, as you can see from our service lab and also product lab, we go to workshop, we build cloud platform for workshop, we build cloud platform for warehousing, we build cloud platform because all of these are vehicles, and the autonomous is because Tesla has already been done. So, but down the road, any other self-driving technology from Honda or Toyota, they are going to have this capability of connecting to the cloud, and building the ecosystem around it that has cloud capabilities will be a profitable approach.
So in a simple words, it means a system.
A system.
So in terms of local market product, so is there any idea to push that this local manufacturers to jump ship and to make it this happen, or you going to take it as a product and to go to other companies like Honda or Toyota?
I can't disclose the information, but I can say that we are working with local car manufacturers to build self-driving car.
So how's
I think that's all.
the acceptance in terms of the local market?
Acceptance in the local market right now is still in development phase. So acceptance not yet. I can't answer that. I don't have an answer for that. How is it? But it depends on one of the car manufacturers to decide how they want to do the autonomous thing.
Do you think that this ecosystem that you're building around autonomous driving, you think it's going to attract companies in Tesla or push them away?
Attracting Tesla is a policy problem. So I wouldn't say the product actually tries to bring Tesla. We're trying to build our own thing so that we are technology readiness, because our vision is to enable people to create. Even though we build autonomous technology, we are using what we learn from autonomous technology to help other companies excel at what they're doing. So as a business, helps other businesses profit. So that's our approach right now. Of course, I'm talking about what are you asking me, like on a personal level?
But do you think like the ecosystem would be compatible with what Tesla?
We can make it compatible. We can, because we build it, so that's why we know that we can make it compatible with Tesla. But on a personal perspective, is of course we want to do the self-driving car, but we have to take a different approach.
I guess if you have one more question, any more questions?
So I think you mentioned earlier that every road is different and we face different challenges, right? Like different roads.
Okay.
Yeah. In different countries, the roads are different, right? So in Malaysia, we do have challenges trace a bit, and as well as people jaywalking. So how did you at REKA try to account for that in your self-driving cars?
How to solve that particular problem?
Yes.
Well, in engineering, the parameters that you put, the weightage you put into the equation, avoiding people is of the utmost. There was a talk, it's called the many people punya theory, you have a lot of people on this side of the road, and then there's like one old people on that side of the road, and then your self-driving car and the brake is broken and stuff like that. So where does the self-driving car? Does it hit the old person, one old person, or like a lot of people? So and that, to counter jaywalking and stuff like that, you just have to put a higher parameter, higher weightage to the pedestrian avoidance part. So to answer that question, in terms of morality, there's a lot of things to discuss there. That's why I give that analogy. It's quite interesting. I went with Nottingham University and I gave that exercise, and they were different. They were 50-50. Some of them run over the old person. Why? Over the old, because the old person has knowledge and they can transfer his knowledge to another person. So this person young, not enough knowledge. Wow. Okay. it's a morality. Thank you for the question.